I don't know about you, but I've got a bucket list. It's got a list of things which I read about 5 years ago I'd like to do before I kick the bucket before I die. I've got various things like seeing the pyramids, visiting every cathedral in England, reading confessions in Latin, and I've done a few of them. And I suppose in the sense of shaking oneself out of the routines that you can find yourself in, there's something good about having a bucket list. But I also have issues with bucket lists, and I'll come on to that in a bit. After I've thought about the reading which is set for Candlemas, which is today, the moment when the baby Jesus is presented at the temple. I want to think about that a bit first and then come back to the bucket list problem. And in this reading, what happens is Joseph and Mary bring their baby to the temple for a rite of purification, which is something which would have happened to thousands of families. It's kind of an ordinary thing to do. It's a little bit analogous to parents bringing their child for baptism. So it's a special occasion for them, but not like it's not like this is not the royal wedding or a kind of massive revolution. This is kind of a normal thing that happened. And in Luke's account of this, Simeon, who is an old man, we're told he's righteous and devout, but he's just an old guy who is worshipping there, sees Jesus and somehow he recognises Jesus as the Messiah. Comes up with this amazing prayer. Now, Lord, you let your servant depart in peace according to your word. For mine eyes have seen the salvation, the glory of your people Israel, a light to lighten the Gentiles, and so on. That light to lighten the Gentiles sparked off people remembering this feast with candles, which is why it's called Candlemas. Similarly, Anna is an old woman. We even get told her age of 84, and she is said to have spotted Jesus and been, recognised him. But well, there are two kind of key takeouts for this, and the first I don't want to focus on so much, which is just the more obvious one, which is that's the important thing. Jesus is the important thing. Everything else in life is background. Jesus is the important thing, and so that's why his prayer is so authentic, because he doesn't have to worry about anything else. If Jesus is in the world, there is nothing else to worry about. But this is what I want to focus on. Is look at the context in which Simeon makes this key discovery. If you think about it, what's important to note is that it's not like he's gone up Mount Sinai to have an extraordinary spiritual experience, or to put it in modern language, he hasn't kind of gone to the end of the world. He's not had to go up in space to suddenly realise that the earth is round and we've got to look after it. He hasn't had to do anything extraordinary. He is just a devout religious person doing what a religious person of his time and place did, which is go to the temple and worship there. This extraordinary experience has not happened to him when he's doing something extraordinary. It's happened to him when he's doing something ordinary. And I really feel that ordinary experiences are undervalued or underestimated. Partly because these experiences can be key, but they're less easy to describe. If I ask you to describe what it's like to go on a roller coaster, and I think you'll find it quite easy to think about it. You'll say, oh, well, the wind rushed through my hair, the stomach fell behind me, I screamed, it was exciting, it was scary, I didn't like it, I did. Whatever it is, I think you'll find it an easy thing to describe. But let me ask you this. What is your experience of being a brother, or a parent, or a son, or a daughter, or a wife? What is your experience of these things? I think you'll find it harder to answer initially because it's not like one moment, one extraordinary moment you're talking about. It is a profound thing, but it's not an extraordinary thing. And probably it's made up of lots and lots and lots of little things. And by the way, I think our experience of God an experience of God is really much more analogous to the experience of being a brother or a father or a mother than it is to going on a bungee jump or going on a roller coaster. Sometimes people think, oh, I really want to experience God, and what they've got in their head is some kind of rocket-fueled experience. And that's not the way I understand it at all. But those experiences of being a parent are made up of 100,000 mini experiences. Taking your child to school, looking for their shoes, checking after them, washing their clothes, saying hello at the end of the day, reading them a story at night. So the ones which go on and on and on and on. None of them are extraordinary, but they are the meat and potatoes, the real juice of life, how love is really shown. And that's, I suppose, my problem with bucket lists. That what they kind of prioritise is the exotic or the glamorous or the spectacular. And you're never going to do all the exotic, or if you do 10 exotic spectacular things, there'll be another 15 which you don't get to do, so you have that kind of fear of missing out phenomenon, FOMO. But more importantly, they're ultimately insignificant. And really, what we should be saluting is the long-term relationships, and ultimately God's part of that, which may not be spectacular, but that's what God wants of us. And that's why it's someone like Simeon doing an ordinary act of devotion who's able to see what he can see.